Hello, so we're back on the road, folks. It's quite strange to be back on the road after weeks and weeks of not driving. So here I am in lovely Alvechurch, and I just thought to make a general video while I'm out so you can get to see some driving again. Funny story about around this area. A few years ago now, I taught to people who lived around here, and they were a hypnotist. I remember thinking, what a bloody weirdo, who'd want to be a hypnotist? Anyway, let's get back to the video. I've got nothing to really say in particular. I'm just going to drive around and just talk, because I know it's been months since I was able to make a video. And yeah, I'm just going to go over this hill. This is Bear Hill, quite a steep hill. Not as steep as some, but it's quite steep around here. Just going to go left. And yeah, this is a lovely area. This is where I would really like to live one day, and that's one of my aims, I suppose. I've not got my heart set on it, but it's quite a nice little area, nice old kind of village area. The only problem is I think the cheapest house is about $250,000. But if you believe what some driving schools tell you, driving instructors earn that in a week. So this time next week I'll be living here. Anyway, to go into the road, which way should I go ahead? You notice the wall on the left here, there's that black thing on the wall. It's a big spring, there's a massive spring, so if you hit the wall, you bounce off it. I always find that quite funny. Anyway, I'm just going to go straight over this crossroads, and then nice fun. And then I'm going to turn right at the end of this very short road. Yeah, if you are that pupil of mine who lived around here, I can't remember what. I do remember now what happened actually. They worked as a hypnotherapist, and they did what you call easy birthing, or no, hypnobirthing. That's it. Hypnobirthing is when you help people giving birth with hypnotherapy. Not something I do, but you know, it is a thing. And I remember, sorry, got to remember how to talk. I remember that they had a job working at the hospital, the one I went to in my previous videos, and bit of a nice hazard there. See if I can get around this fun. And yeah, they cut the funding. I think it was back in 2010, like when the recession was on, and they cut the funding and they lost the job, unfortunately, and I couldn't carry on with lessons. I also found that quite funny. I remember that when if you don't know, the reason I was laughing is because I trained to become a hypnotherapist last year, and I remember that people, and I remember thinking, what a weirdo. I used to make jokes about you know, hypnotising herself to pass the test and that. Anyway, this comes out somewhere you'll recognise. Anyone know where this goes? Well, I won't tell you, but you'll probably recognise it. Where am I going, by the way? That's a secret, I can't tell you that, but I'm going somewhere. So I'm going along this road, and pick up a bit of speed. That van that was parked up is now coming up fast behind, so I'm going to slow them down. They've got a lot of deliveries to do, maybe. I remember having another people who finished lessons down here. It's funny when I drive around, the number of roads I go on where I've taught people, but there's hardly any road where I haven't taught anyone. And I was thinking, if ever I break down, it doesn't matter where I break down, because I've always taught someone who lives on that road. I can knock on the door and say, hey, can you use your toilet? Anyway, advisory speed signs for 20. I don't know how long ago they did this surface. Not too long ago, so we'll go quite slowly. The reason they're there, by the way, is they advise you to slow down. So the road chippings, but if you can hear that, but there's like stones coming up from under the car, loose chippings. It stops it from damaging your car, so you can't, you know, blame them and say, you scratched my car off, skidded or whatever, and you never told me. You don't have to do that. It's an advisory sign, but I am at the moment because the surface is quite bad. And I don't know if you know about this, but they have been using the downtime, they're not doing 20, are they? And that is exactly how you get chips on your car, which is incredibly annoying. I remember once having a brand new car straight from the garage, and I was doing about speed like this. Some idiot overtook me, threw loads of stones up and put a massive chip on my car. Brand new car, chipped. Yeah, anyway, so where was I? What was I saying? About the downtime that they've been using. There's quite a few stones there. While there hasn't been many people on the road because the traffic fell by 80% on the roads because of the lockdown, they used that time to get a lot of roadworks done, and they said that things that would have taken years have been done in weeks. Now, I've not been out, so I don't know, but this is one example. I had no idea this road had been redone, and normally this would have caused mayhem. Well, not mayhem, but it would have been it's not a busy road, but it can be busy at times. But it's good to see that they've been out and about. Massive thanks to all of the road workers, the men and the women, because I've seen women doing the job as well, who go out and repair the roads and fix the roads. They've been very busy over the last few weeks or months. So 30-20, which one would you do? Well, it's officially legally 30, but it's still saying no road markings, and I'm keeping the speed down. Excuse me coughing, I haven't got my microphone with me. When I film on this dash cam, I have to shout into the camera, which is quite annoying because the microphone is a long way away, so it sounds quite quiet or rumbly. I don't like filming on just my dash cam, but I have to really shout over into the camera, and it still comes out really quiet compared to when I have my lapel microphone on. But anyway, that's one reason we can't do lessons at the moment, because when you have to talk a bit louder than you normally would over an engine, you have to, push your voice out and shout more, which of course sprays what I believe they're calling the cloud, all the droplets in the air that spread the virus. So the louder you have to talk like this, the more you're kind of spitting into the air. And you're not spitting, but you don't even know you're doing it. It's not like you're actually consciously spitting. But that's why we can't do lessons. These lines are quite new on the floor. They weren't there before. Had slow signs new. I remember once I had a Peugeot 206 1.1 and had to be in second gear to get out that hill. Couldn't even do it in third. Anyone starting to recognise where we are? If you're a pupil of mine or not, you may recognise where we are. No, but you might recognise this part, and if you don't, you'll recognise it in a moment. So, it looks like the road surface is back to normal. We're going up to National, which is not really ideal to do National just here, because this road does get quite bendy. I can see reasonably well ahead, covering the brake with my right foot, just in case I have to brake. I do remember once coming around here with a pupil, and there was a tractor parked on this side of the road facing us with those big skewers. It was just here, and this house on the left, that went up for sale for £950,000 and sold within a week. I snapped that one up all I could. Anyway, there was this big tractor in the road facing us with like these forks, and I remember saying to the people, what a great example of why you don't just do National. I'm doing about 45 at the moment. You don't want to do National just because it says National. I'm sorry the windscreen might be a bit dirty, I know. I have cleaned it several times, but the car's been sitting still for so long. It's it's not been used for a while, so it's all a bit dirty on the windscreen. Anyone recognise this? No, you might recognise it by now if you think, oh, that's where it comes out. Because you can see them when you're in Alfchurch, like you're miles away from anywhere, but you're not. And so if you don't recognise this by now, this is coming up to a certain roundabout which you'll recognise. And that's just me coughing again, sorry. So I'll come around the bend, recognise it. Yep, it's Beckett's Farm. We all love Beckett's Farm. Everyone who learns with me, it's a favourite junction, Beckett's Farm. And I'm going to do something now which looks really odd, but this is how you actually do it. I'm going ahead from the right lane, and if you don't know that, you've got no chance because you can only see to the right lane. Now, how are you supposed to read that and get in that lane that quickly? You go from right to right, following the Hollywood, H-Wood. Oh, the lines have been repainted. You move left now to check in the mirror to this one, and off you go. And you see how that truck stopped there? I've seen times where people haven't stopped because the lanes are so odd, and that is how you do it. That is by the book. That is how you do it. That's how you must do it on test to pass. And it is quite odd because it says on the floor all of the routes, and this goes back to my kind of psychology and hypnosis work. It's a really bad idea to tell people what not to do, to put all of the routes on the floor. Why doesn't it just say Hollywood, instead of you having to read all of the routes and then read the other two to work out whether or not that's your way or not? It's just stupid. But anyway, some of this video has been rambling. I know some people moan or don't know this. If you don't like my videos, don't watch. Simple as that. People who watch my videos and enjoy them, great. I'm going to go straight on. This is where the speed camera very often is, as you see the sign there. And yeah, I'm just not going to go too much further, but just thought to make a video while I'm out and about because it's been so long since I actually made a driving video, and I still don't know yet whether or not I'm continuing with this job or whether I'm going full time into my other work. I don't know, but what I will say is there is massive demand for driving lessons. I can't believe how many people are emailing me about lessons, and I really appreciate that. That people are still choosing to learn with me after all these years, and it's good to know that when this lockdown is lifted, there's such a massive demand. I always say you cannot stop driving lessons. It doesn't matter what you do, recessions, viruses, whatever. You just don't stop driving lessons. People just want to drive. And that brings me on to my final point for this video about reducing pollution. Now, during the lockdown, I think the amount of pollution in Birmingham dropped by, was it 80% or 90%? Absolutely unbelievable. And we do need to, it's easy to say, these damn tree huggers and green people. I think we do need to be sensible. And as well as saying thank you to the NHS, as that sign says there, we do need to think about how we reduce emissions when we go back to driving. Now, I'm all for electric vehicles, and I would love to have an electric car, and I do believe the electric Fiesta is ready to start trials, or it's been trialled. The only reason I don't do that is, as I mentioned before, electric cars are all classed as automatic, and I know people argue technically they're not automatic because they don't have gears. They are classed as automatic for the purposes of a driving test. And I think it's time that especially us people here in Britain kind of got away from this love affair with manual cars. And I really don't get why people love them so much, because I've had autos and I love auto. It's so much easier. It's definitely safer in terms of keeping both hands on the wheel. But yeah, that's all I want to say really, because I'm almost where I'm going. And again, I hope you like this video. I hope you appreciate that I can't film many videos at the moment, but I'm doing what I can to film what I can. So I'm going to turn off here. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. Check out the other videos on the screen now, and I'll see you again soon for more videos.